Do you want to join? You can join.
And he's like, yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I
hold on, let me
join.
show. I'll be right back. And I'm like, this happened recently with Ken and James. I'm like full on hard. And I'm just like, I just want to have sex. So just give me 30 minutes. I'll be back. Okay.
And you have to take a break so your roommate can join in. This is Sexy Funny Raw, where we talk all about the world of sex, from dating and relationships to the adult industry itself, answering all the questions you weren't even brave enough to ask Google. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Sexy Funny Raw. I'm Sylvia Sage. I am your host, and I am here in studio once again with my very good friend, Shawn Alff.
It's true. I am here.
And you are my good friend.
And yes, we are good friends.
Okay, so we talked about it last week on our episode, but Shawn is kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to the industry. He started out as a porn writer, and then he moved to a production assistant. He's worked as a performer, a director, like everything porn you kind of encompass.
Everything except for being an agent. I haven't been an agent.
No, who would want to be an agent?
No, it would be the worst job ever.
Oh, it's like babysitting toddlers.
Herding cats. Yeah.
Oh, no thank you.
Toddlers who make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you have to put up with their shit.
Yeah.
Like they complain, you're like, okay.
Yeah. And I have to do it because they pay my salary. Yeah. Yeah, I would never. Don't do that.
No
Okay.
plans to.
Good. So I feel like, Shawn, you probably have more tips in the bedroom than anybody else because you've seen it from all different angles.
That's true. I have. I've watched a lot of it. I've,
Written
participated.
it, participated, all the things.
Yeah, I've read a lot about it as a sex writer in Tampa. So
Yeah.
I came at it from all those angles. And obviously, I'm a master at sex, which you know personally.
A master. Yeah.
Yeah. Best, probably.
I mean, honestly, you're great enough in bed that I've had sex with you for money and not for money.
It's true. That's a big compliment.
Yeah. Anyone I sleep with for not money, that's a huge win. You need to mark that in a book.
I'm putting it in my Twitter bio.
Yeah. Had sex with Sylvia Sage and not for money.
Not for money. She just did it. She called me back too. So I don't know.
And we're still friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you feel about foreplay, Shawn?
Out the window.
No one needs it.
First of all, guys, just go in dry. Okay. So, my biggest tip for how to be good in bed is to ask your partner what they like, because
Big tip. Yeah.
every woman is different.
That's the truth.
The biggest thing that I see with so many guys is hubris and having the I know everything mentality.
Yeah.
Or even you've probably had guys mansplain orgasms to you and be
Yeah.
like, so a guy will learn something that got one of his girlfriends off,
Yes.
and then he'll think, I need to do that to every woman because that's how every woman gets off. And by the way, I've seen women do this too. I've seen this one woman I'm thinking of specifically, she knew how to make herself squirt, and it was very specific. It was like a lot of pressure and specific amount of speed. And I watched her in a girl scene, and she was doing that to other women without really asking them what they wanted or if that worked for them. So it cuts both ways.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly have go-to moves that work for most men, but you're right. They don't work on all men.
Yeah, they don't work on all men. So just like being flexible and not thinking that you know everything and not thinking that you know how to get every single woman off is, I think, the biggest thing. And so navigating it, and it doesn't have to be like right before sex, you're like, what gets you off? But like, it can be part of the fun flirtation. Like we're talking about sex now, and you're probably going to tell me some things. Like, I know you don't necessarily like guys going down on you.
That's accurate. Yeah.
So that's something I put in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, so he doesn't really love that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I might do a little bit just to get it wet, but
Right.
yeah. So the biggest thing, foreplay starts way before you're actually in the bedroom. It's like doing reconnaissance info where you're like getting little things about what they like.
You know, it's funny that you said that the foreplay starts, a long way before you actually get there. And then you said in the beginning, you said, yeah, no foreplay, just shove it in dry. Both of those things, like, I have a very clear memory of a guy that I dated, and it was a long distance relationship. And we were constantly, every day, because it was long distance, we're constantly messaging sexually explicit things to each other and like what we want to do to each other. And when he would get to my place to like see me for the first time, it really was just like a rip off pants and like go dive right into it.
Yeah.
But again, I don't necessarily love anyone eating me out. So if you can just spit on it and throw it in, like that was also like game day for me. I was like, I love that. Like my foreplay was months of not seeing this person. So when it got down to it, I was like, that was it. That was our foreplay's already done. We don't need anything else. Stick it in. Yeah. So it can go both.
Yeah. I mean, part of it too is just being good at reading people and reading the room and reading the moment. 'Cause everybody, it's different. Like,
is it reading the room, or do we get a cheat sheet with porn? Because in porn, we get a yes and no list. We get a like, what are you into checklist that you get to run through with your scene partner. Do you feel like that we get a cheat system in porn as opposed to real life? You don't get that.
Yes. And I would say that porn has like made me take that cheat sheet into regular life too.
Yeah.
But I would also say that like the first time you have sex with somebody, don't try to do all of the porn things.
Yes.
Like don't, especially like a big one for me, and this is also just self-preservation. A woman says that she's like really into rough sex. That doesn't mean you need to crank it up to 100 the first time. I would recommend testing out a few things, seeing what she likes, what she responds to.
Because your version of rough and her version of rough might be
very, very different. But with that one, with the rough stuff, what I've started trying to do recently is like, if a woman says she likes being slapped or slapped in the face, I'm like, okay, I want you to slap me in the face. How hard you like it, so that I get a sense of it, because it just means different things to different people. And especially a big one is like working with somebody in porn who likes rough stuff versus somebody outside of porn who says that they like rough sex. You do not know what you're getting. It could be like, oh, I was spanked once and that's rough sex for me. So it's much
meanwhile,
like,
we have consent forms to like light you on fire, you know? So it's a different level.
But along with that, and talking about like the cheat sheets is like, so I stopped drinking about 2 years ago. Is actually when I started performing more. It was also just to maintain the body, because drinking,
it ruins it.
But also to help get rid of anxiety and stuff too. But I noticed when I stopped drinking, now when I have like casual sex for the first time with a partner, it used to be like we would have a few drinks and we'd loosen up and you know, we'd start touching, start kissing. Now I'm just so sober that I'm like, do you want to start kissing? It's just not smooth or flowy, which is good in a way. It just takes some of the like the magic away, I guess. But with that, I've also been much more like openly like, what are some things that you like, and talking. I know it can be really hard to do at first, but I think it can be helpful.
No, absolutely. I love a porn cheat sheet. I think it's the best. And I've talked about it on this podcast plenty of times before, and like how it is really smart to like bring it in. But how do you do that? You know, on a date when you're like getting to know somebody, you're like, do you just want to glance at this and just put some check marks next to the things that you're okay with? Or
I mean, a date, like, okay, do you want to spend your time on this date, like, I don't know, talking about your day at the DMV, or do you want to spend it talking about, hey, what were some really great sex experiences? What were some bad sex experiences?
But people get a little jealous talking about previous sexual experiences with the person they're trying to have sex with.
See, this is the part where I disconnect. I'm like, I used to be such a jealous person, and I've worked on it so much that now, like, my roommate and best friend sleeps with literally anybody I like romantically am seeing or am casually
Robbie.
seeing. Yeah. So like jealousy is a different.
I can just see Robbie right now. They walk out of your room and Robbie's like, hey, what's up? Do you want to go to my room? Or
literally, like, this has happened so many times recently, but I'll have somebody over to shoot content and he'll come in and be like, what are you guys doing? And I'm like, do you want to join? You can join.
And he's like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, hold on, let me show. I'll be right back. And I'm like, this happened recently with Ken and James. I'm like full on hard. And I'm just like, I just want to have sex. So just give me 30 minutes. I'll be back.
Okay. And you have to take a break so your roommate can join in.
But
I mean, luckily Robbie is Robbie, and you really can't say no to him. He's just such a fun-loving guy. And I mean, he's got one of those penises where, again, you're just like, all right.
Yeah, get on
bring
him.
it in
Come
here.
on,
it's
buddy.
fine. It'll be fine.
But yeah, I mean, so my whole, this is off topic, but porn has also made me really cognizant of the things that make me jealous and the things that don't make me jealous.
Yeah.
But yeah, so talking about people that get jealous of you talking about previous sexual partners, I just can't even fathom that anymore. But I guess
it's real.
True.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want to be with somebody that couldn't talk about
previous experiences.
Yeah.
I get that. But that's the world that we live in.
Yeah.
It's not the world everybody else lives in. Speaking of the world that only we live in, we get to have a no list in porn. Your no list can contain people, or it can contain things, like things that you're not comfortable with doing. Mm-hmm. Do you have a no list in real life? And do you tell people before you get into bed, like, these are my hardcore will not do's? So
I'm pretty flexible, and I'm such a service sexual that I get off on getting the other person off.
Yeah.
And genuinely being interested in that. So I can be convinced of most anything.
Including your roommate joining all of your sexual experiences.
Because even then, with that, I know it gives the woman an experience that she wouldn't normally get.
Yeah.
And that gets me off. But I used to, I get so tired of we get on set and we know it's not an anal scene and people are like, don't stick anything in my butt. I'm like, yes, obviously you don't stick anything in your butt.
No, but I will say, even on non-anal days, if you don't put something in my butt, somebody's going to put a thumb in there or a tongue or a finger or something. True. And it does happen. And I'm like, I didn't clean it.
Yeah.
I don't want you to smell my shit, you know? So it happens.
But I used to say don't bite my lips because that's one thing that just annoys me is getting my lips bitten.
Okay.
But now I'll say that, I guess, but I don't say anything else because I say I have no problem stopping the scene or saying no or just pulling back. But I really can't think of an example of a woman crossing a boundary of mine. That's good. Even when it comes to ask stuff, they'll usually ask beforehand, if they want to do something beyond the normal, do you like your ass licked or whatever, and I'll just be like, let me just double baby wipe, even though I showered right before. Let me just completely
let me just take something in there really quick and just rim it out.
Just roll. But I haven't hit that. So, but again, I don't feel pressured to do things, and so I'm much more worried about what's on the woman's list, and because a lot of women feel pressured to say yes or in the moment. I want them to be very, very clear. And I also want to empower them to know that they can say no or stop the scene if there's anything. Not that we're anticipating that, but so I don't really have a no list. I just feel comfortable saying no.
Well, that's good. Mm-hmm. So I know you like to really please women, and that's kind of your point, is that you always want to make sure that they're taken care of. But does that mean that you don't enjoy getting a blowjob?
So for the longest time, I never came from getting a blowjob when I was growing up. It was. Or
did you just tell women that so they'd all suck your dick and try to get you off? Because I feel like that's a thing.
It would be. I like blowjobs, but it's not. What makes me come is missionary, fucking missionary.
Interesting.
Or if you're really good at hand jobs.
Hand jobs.
I know it's something about the pressure. You can just get more pressure, and the dirty talk. I know. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Hand jobs I just feel so weird about hand jobs. I remember I got booked. This was so early on in my career, but I got booked for a hand job. And I remember being down there and this dick is in my face and I'm just hand. And I was like, how do you not put it in your mouth at this point? It's so crazy to me. It's like if somebody told you to chew gum with your fingers, you'd be like, why? I don't understand. Why I can't just put it in my mouth.
That's where it goes. I have a mouth.
Sense.
Yeah.
It's so strange. All right, hand jobs noted.
Yeah, but blowjob. I think it's because it's sometimes it's the cusp of being ticklish. And it's really hard to articulate exactly what I like during a blowjob because it's you'll hit it for a moment and you're like, wait, no, that. You know what I mean? So it's like specific pressure.
That's how I feel about me getting oral.
Yeah. I could see that.
That the moment you hit it, I'm like, well, that was it. You lost it.
Yeah.
Okay, we're done.
Yeah, and you don't know how to. Okay, so you need to suck.
Yeah.
But narrow your mouth. I don't know. There's just.
I think a man will know he's doing good if I'm not saying anything when he's eating me out. If I'm just like in a land, then you're doing great. But other than that, it's probably not.
Depending on the guy and depending because for me, he might be like, oh, she's so vocal, right? I'm doing great. She's so. If a woman is like very articulate with her dirty talk, I'm like, I'm doing nothing.
Yes, yeah, because she has so much concentration, she can think about all the words she's saying. That's true. Remember that, gentlemen. If she's doing hella dirty talk, you ain't doing anything.
For this one site I shoot for, it's a POV thing where I'm part of the scene is we're having a conversation while I'm fucking. And you really get a good sense of like some people I can just have a full on conversation and there is no hesitancy. And there's other people that like they keep losing their train of thought and they're breathing heavy. And you're like, okay, this. But it also like you can be doing the exact same thing to different women and it just affects them differently.
Yeah, that was going to be my follow up question. Is like, obviously, I'm sure you enjoy giving women cunnilingus, but are there any tips? But I guess your tip would just be like, ask them what they want.
So a big thing I didn't realize before the industry is I realized there's a huge divide on women who like fingers inside of them and women who don't like fingers inside of them. So that is a big thing.
True.
Like, do you ask
an in.
Yeah. How many fingers do you like? Another big one is, do you want a soft tongue or a hard tongue on the clit?
Good question.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then do you want a lot of like sucking pressure on the clit or just more? And some people, it's not even about sucking or licking. It's about like, they just want your face mashed and moving hard. It's like that pressure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it really just, I think it's different for everybody. And also obviously like, you know, how big your clit is, how sensitive your clit is.
Because a lot of women don't like clit stimulation at all, which is mind blowing to me because I would like a jackhammer down there at any point in time, you know? So I like all the pressure. But
also something for me, but this is also for women, is like I learned in porn, my biggest turn on is being relaxed. But this is also many women's biggest turn on is being relaxed and being around a guy they're comfortable and feel safe with. And this is also true of dominating hardcore sex is they want to be with that kind of alpha male, but they want to be with a guy who they feel comfortable and safe with and can relax around. So a lot of women feel very insecure about their pussies or how it smells or looks or whatever it is. And because of that fact, they are not good with receiving oral sex because they spend the entire time being insecure, so they can't relax.
Very true.
So it might be that they like the sensation, but they're not mentally relaxed. And if they're not mentally relaxed, they're not going to be enjoying it. So knowing that can also help.
Yeah, that's such a good point, though. What do you think? I think you might have mentioned this earlier, but we're going to do it again. What do you think is the one thing that is the biggest turn on for you about a woman or something that a woman does? I feel like the scent was a big one for you. But
I have a few things that I've really zeroed in on. And so this is gonna be a little bit Freudian, but growing up, I grew up very Catholic. And so the only way I could conceive of sex is if I was forced into having sex. So you'll see where this is going.
I'm a little nervous of where this is going.
I'm not on like the sub spectrum. But also, when I started dating, I was like, I really like dominant women. But it wasn't that. It was just that I was so shy to approach women that I only dated women who approached me.
Okay, fair.
But also, I really get off on like sexually empowered women who know what they want and are going after it and are very sexual. So like, I don't like teen porn, and it's not because I don't like teen bodies. It's because they usually play the like, what are you doing?
Yes.
Like, I don't like that. I want her to be a slut and want to be there and to actively be trying to fuck me and me being like, I don't know about this. Like, I want her just like all over, like, let's fucking go.
We're going to fuck whether you like this or not.
Yeah. Like, like you don't have a choice. Because in my like Catholic boy brain, I was like, that's the only way I can have sex is if I don't have a choice. Like, I had to do this.
It was life or death if I didn't give her my dick.
But also, I think I've just always, I know some guys are really intimidated by like powerful women. I am not. And that actually, I work for so many women. And there's a reason I work for women is because like I love women who are in charge. I like boss bitches. Like, it does not threaten me. Like, if a woman makes more than me, I'm like, fucking bravo.
Great.
It doesn't hurt
She can buy me better gifts.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah. But the Freudian part of that, I think, is in my family. My mom was much more of a, like, she taught me how to build a fence and stuff. So I just was never, I never saw women as like weak.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I also love your connection with your mom. I'm being very honest. You and your mom have such an amazing relationship and you're so very close. And she does seem very supportive of you in general, which is so nice.
Yeah. And it's great because she is very Catholic. And
I don't get into the
details. I don't get into the details.
Okay.
Like, she knows I'm in it, and she knows I've dated adult performers and I brought them home and met. The greatest thing about my parents is like, they're so weirdly not judgmental. Like, as much as I feel like they would be or should be, they're just like kind of obliviously happy. They're like, oh, great. Yeah. But with like, especially now that my mom is getting older and she has Parkinson's, and we used to, like, I'd come home and she'd put on a CD about a priest talking about the evils of pornography.
Oh,
and being like,
really? When you first got into it, she would do that?
Yeah, but it wasn't like, once we got, like, we don't argue. We're not like a fighting family. We're not like yelling at each other. It was just kind of like
a fighting family.
Like, we love her and she's supportive. I think she knows, like, I'm a good person and I'm not evil and all of those things. And I think the bigger thing is that I identify as atheist, and I think that's probably a bigger concern for her. But also, she knows, like, let's see how to say this. I think she sees that there's certain flaws with Catholicism because she grew up, like, in a conservative Kansas farming community.
Same girl.
Yeah, and she grew up, like, they taught her, gay is evil, all those things, but then she worked with gay people and she had gay friends. Like, she didn't hate them. She wasn't like persecuting them. She was never like a picketer. And so I think it's the same with pretty much everything else. Is like, she doesn't see people as evil people. Like, she doesn't think because Native Americans didn't have Jesus that they went to hell. She just thinks they're good people who, so she is a good person. She's not judgmental. There's just certain of her ideas don't match, but that doesn't mean she loves me any less.
No, I totally get that. I feel that my mom is kind of in the same boat. She very much has her religious mindset and does not love what I do, but chooses to love me instead.
And good for them.
Yeah.
And I love her even though I don't agree with all of the things she believes.
Yeah. I'm like, I hate your belief system. I think it's absolutely asinine, and it's weird that I can't come to Thanksgiving, but whatever. Still love you, So it is what it is. Okay. What do you think? Now, this is your lesson to the men out there.
Oh, okay.
What do you think men can do to get laid more often? Such a thing, especially right now. I feel like there's this thing going around that, like, men are in this loneliness epidemic, like, all these red-pilled men are like, so they're anti-women at this point. So what do men need to be doing to be getting laid more often and be happier?
I have so many tips on this, and it's not because I was ever naturally good at it. It's because I was naturally bad at it, and I was forced to learn and look at it objectively. I think one of the biggest divides that's happening now is with online isolation, and your only interactions are with people online, and so you're not developing these social skills. But my biggest tip, and this is something I knew all the way back in middle school, is that you need to find a way to be in the sphere of the people that you want to have sex with. So I was attracted to porn stars. So I found a way to be around porn stars, and I started having sex with porn stars.
Yeah.
So you need to, even like in middle school, when I was going to high school, I transferred to a school with hotter women. It was also like a wealthier school, and I wanted to be around wealthy people to understand what it was like in that world. So it's location. You need to find a way to physically be in their presence, because being around people is like, you are around me enough, you're like, okay, this guy is safe, this guy is cool. Because what most guys fail to appreciate is that men are the number one biggest danger for women.
Yeah, true.
And you're coming at these women on social media, their biggest concern is not like, is he going to be, is he going to get me off? Their biggest concern is he going to murder me?
Yes. Yeah.
So you have to find a way to be around them and show that you're a normal, regular guy. Like go to yoga class, find a way to be in their sphere, learn how to talk to people at bars and be normal. And I think that is the number one biggest thing. But
yeah, it's huge. Yeah,
it's huge. So like if you're just being an online jockey and you spent your entire time trying to flirt with people online, like it's just perverting your worldview and your ability to talk to people and your ability to understand like what's normal in the social. I did know a guy, this was really interesting, a guy that I worked with who set up a female profile on dating apps just to understand what it was like.
From other guys.
Yeah, to have that perspective of guys hitting them up and like what worked and what stood out and all of that. But yes, do they need more tips or is that?
No, I like that one, but they need a tip on this.
Okay.
How do men get the biggest, tastiest loads?
Why are you asking
Everybody
me that?
wants to know. Do you not have big, tasty loads?
I don't know, do I?
I mean, I don't remember the taste, but
The only thing I've ever heard, zinc increases your load size, and I've looked at different pills, and all of those pills are just loaded with zinc. So bigger load size, zinc. I also learned this tip long before I was in porn, is you don't need to come every single day. So if you're want a bigger load for a woman on like Saturday, maybe don't come.
Save it.
The first days leading up to it. And then the only other thing with the taste of your cum is citric. Pineapple is the one that everybody notes that you'll taste. Lower sodium, hydrate, and don't do things that'll make your urine smell will also make your cum taste bad. So asparagus, coffee, onions, eliminate those. And usually I just think like the day leading up to that.
Yeah,
but
honestly,
be healthy.
I was going to say being healthy in general is a huge play into that. Because I mean, obviously I've tasted a lot of loads. They don't all taste the same. Let me tell you that. You can tell someone's like health by their cum.
But what I will also say is that Robbie, we love Robbie. He did the Great American Come Off.
If you want to look up Robbie Apples, this is a roommate who fucks everybody.
So he's like, he was vegan at the time. Eats like
he's
super
not vegan
healthy.
Anymore?
No.
Okay.
So he did this thing where he had different male porn stars come and then women tasted it to see whose was best.
I love Robbie.
Robbie lost.
Oh no.
It like completely disproved his thing because it was a blind taste test. The guy who won was Chad Alva, and like he was talking about his diet beforehand. It was like, I eat a lot of hot
Doritos,
dogs. Yeah, and like beer. So genetics.
Okay.
Also realize though that a lot of women, unless you're coming in their mouth, they don't
Yeah.
know that they care how big the taste of your load is.
No, they don't. I think that's more of a man question than anything. We've already answered that question. This question, I feel like I get all of the time from people online, and
I know exactly what this question is.
How do you keep from getting people pregnant?
Okay, there's different ways to do this one. One, try not to sleep with people who are not on some form of birth control.
Accurate.
Also, try not to sleep with people who are actively like
trying to have a baby.
Yeah. If they say things like, I don't believe in abortion, don't sleep with them. Not that I was ever actively like trying to come inside of these people. Also, don't come inside people.
Yeah, don't come. I don't let anybody come inside. All of my
your cream pies.
Yeah, all my cream pies are all fake. I don't do a real cream pie.
Interesting. Yeah. It also just throws off a lot of women's pH.
Yeah.
Also, what you can do is get a vasectomy, which I just had a week ago.
I'm so proud of you, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
There's very few men in porn who have had vasectomies, which I think is so crazy. But
yeah, 2 or 3 guys I can think of. I won't name them because I don't know if that hurts their fan base if people know they're.
I don't think so. That they can just come in you for free. I think
Two
that's
of
great.
the top male performers I know have vasectomies, and it's partially one because when you get to that level where you're making that kind of money and you're that sought after, there's going to be a few crazy people who want to have your baby.
That's true.
You're like, I don't know, a C-list celebrity at that point, and there are going to be some people who just want to have your kid.
And it's happened.
Yes, it has happened. I know a few people who have porn babies.
Karma, though, for that one person I'm thinking of, but it's fine.
Yes.
We might have to cut that
out. But yeah, I think there's one, like, I would hate if there was a birth control for men that fucked with our hormones. I would hate that. So I don't know why, like, I don't feel comfortable feeling like women, it's on the women to do that.
Yeah, I took myself off birth control a while back, but I also haven't shot for companies for a while.
But like it's just crazy to me that we put all this pressure on women to do it when, like, guys, we could so easily get a vasectomy. And I never really envisioned having kids when I was younger. I always, you know, when you're a kid and you think about your future, I always like thought about my future in terms of like Indiana Jones or something, where there's like going on adventures and there was a new woman in each, you know, episode or whatever. It was never like, I'm going to be a dad. So I can always adopt. It's fine.
Yeah.
My brother's genes are better than mine. They're out there. My genes are not particularly great.
You could have Robbie just impregnate whoever for you
he's going to have a kid. I'll be a great uncle to his kid.
Yeah.
But it's just so much safer. And now I don't have to have that concern. I've had 2 men in my immediate family whose the course of their life has been irrevocably altered by pregnancy issues. And both of those pregnancies turned out to be like, one wasn't their kid and the other, the pregnancy didn't actually happen, but it altered the courses of their life. And I never want to be, I've learned in my life, I cannot control other people. All I control is my relationship to them and how much control I give them over me. So that's true with women performers, other guys, is I can't control what you do to me. I can control how you are in my life. But with pregnancy, somebody gets pregnant, that's giving somebody control over me. And that's something I never want to give them that power to do. So I made the choice. Snipped it. But also...
How was it?
So easy.
Yeah.
the
Are you
doctor,
in and out? Do you drive yourself?
I drove myself. The whole thing took less than an hour. They just put a numbing agent, which was probably the most painful part. It was just a needle. I don't want to say it was, I don't know.
Into your penis or balls? Got it.
There's 3 people in the room and they put your dick through this little, like, there's a hole in this gown and they put it in, there's like a glory hole.
Nice.
Thing. They tape your dick up. And then, they go in. Like, I didn't want to look because I didn't want to be weirded out. But I was talking to the doctor the whole time. And he was like, honestly, I was thinking about requiring all of my patients going forward to be unconscious for this because he's had a few guys who freaked out. But it was just a mental thing. Like, like I said, the weirdest part was just you're getting a needle. And then there's a little pinch when they breach the skin. And then you smell them cauterizing the tube.
Yum.
But... I don't know. You deal with such worse pain.
Yeah. It's and the recovery?
So this was, I drove myself home the next day. I worked out.
You worked out the next day?
Yeah. They told me to take it easy, but I know my body and I took it easier. Like I wasn't straining super hard. I've held off running, but I jogged a little bit today and it was fine. There's just a little
You're not
bit
afraid like your ball's just going to fall out into the ground or something?
No. The stitch is healing.
Is it just one stitch?
One on each side.
Okay.
Yeah, I could show you.
They were like went in like with little things on each side and just...
Yeah, you just tied a little bow.
That's what I imagine. I don't know what it looks like. I would like to see though. I would like to see.
Yeah, it was so simple. I mean, I guess I am a big fear of commitment, which partially why I'm getting this because I don't want to commit to a child with somebody who I don't want to have a child with. But just the commitment of like, I guess I don't want to have children. I mean, there's always a little part you're like, maybe I will change my mind, but I'm 41.
No. If I could get a vasectomy, in a fucking heartbeat.
Yeah.
But our procedure is like vastly different. It's like a whole like thing. They take out part of your uterus. It's like it's a fucking real surgery, you know?
Now I'm also excited about advertising my vasectomy online for girls who don't normally do cream pies because they're not on birth control. And like,
I'm your girl.
well,
All right, we got to wrap this up.
Not anymore. I got a vasectomy.
No, we don't have to wrap that up. We have to wrap this up. All right. Shawn, tell the people where they can find you.
So I'm at Shawn Alff, ShawnAlff, and that is on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, or ShawnAlff.com.
And you can see him blow loads into everybody without any risk.
No risk at all.
It's wonderful. All right, guys. As always, if you like what you saw, hit that little subscribe button. And until next time, adios.